How space travel alters human perception. Your brain is lying to you. Right now, every second of every day, it's bending, twisting, and even inventing the reality you experience. It builds your entire world from messy, incomplete data, all based on one huge, fundamental assumption: that you are on Earth. But what happens when you take that same brain and put it here? For the handful of humans who've seen our world from the void, it's not just their bodies that get tested, but their very perception of reality. And what they experience changes everything. When an astronaut goes to space, their mind is forced to rewrite the most basic rules it's ever known. Time warps. Their senses play tricks on them. The world itself transforms before their eyes. This isn't science fiction. This is the neurology of space travel. Section 1. The Earthbound Brain, our built-in operating system. Before we can launch into orbit, we have to understand the machine we're taking with us, the human brain. Think of your brain as a super advanced prediction engine. Your whole life, it's been learning and mastering the physics of Earth. Gravity, for instance, isn't just a force you feel. It's a fundamental rule hardwired into your mind. It's why you instinctively know how to catch a ball, why you don't just walk off ledges, and why you see the world with a definite up and down. Every living thing on this planet evolved with that constant pull, and our brains have a special tool just for dealing with it: the vestibular system, deep in our inner ear. This system gives us our sense of balance, motion, and where we are in space. But it's so much more than just balance. Your brain is constantly mixing data from your inner ear with signals from your eyes, your muscles, and your sense of touch in a process called sensory-motor control. It's how you can walk without staring at your feet. It's how you know where your arms are, even with your eyes closed. All this non-stop, unconscious processing creates the stable, predictable reality you live in. Your perception of time is also deeply rooted in this earthbound experience. Your internal clock is calibrated by the 24-hour cycle of light and dark, guiding your sleep, your alertness, and even your metabolism. Every single part of your perception, from sight and touch to the feeling of time passing, is built on the foundation of living here. The problem is, space doesn't play by Earth's rules. Section 2. The Alien Environment, Deleting the Rules. Leaving Earth is a profound shock to the system. An astronaut's body is suddenly thrown into an environment of microgravity, isolation, and confinement. All at once, the brain's number one assumption, the constant downward pull of gravity, is gone. That finely tuned vestibular system, which has worked perfectly for millions of years, suddenly becomes wildly unreliable. The signals it sends are confusing and often counterproductive. It no longer knows which way is up because up doesn't exist anymore. This sensory confusion leads to space adaptation syndrome, a condition that hits 60 to 70% of astronauts. It's basically an extreme form of motion sickness that can cause disorientation, nausea, and a cognitive fog. The brain receives wildly conflicting signals. Your eyes might see a clear up and down inside the space station, but your inner ear is screaming that there is none. This sensory battle forces the brain into an emergency adaptation mode. Research has shown that in microgravity, the brain actually starts to rewire itself. It learns to downweight the confusing signals from the vestibular system and rely more heavily on other cues, like vision and touch. Astronauts start using visual information to orient themselves, and the feeling of their feet touching a surface, any surface, provides a sense of stability. This remarkable neuroplasticity allows them to adapt, but it comes at a cost. The very hardware of their perception is being altered in real time. Section 3. Time warps in the void. One of the most bizarre things consistently reported by astronauts is the way time gets distorted. And this isn't just about Einstein's theory of relativity, which accounts for astronauts aging a few milliseconds less over a 6-month mission. This is about subjective time, how time feels. Astronauts often report that their sense of time becomes elastic. During high-stress moments like launch or a spacewalk, time can feel like it's speeding up, with everything rushing by in a blur. But during the long, monotonous days of a mission, the opposite happens. The isolation and confinement can make time feel like it's slowing to a crawl. Studies from the International Space Station have confirmed this perceptual warp. Astronauts tend to overestimate how long short intervals are, meaning a minute might feel much longer than it actually is. On the flip side, they often underestimate longer periods, losing track of how many hours have passed. It got so noticeable that Russian researchers even coined a term for it: chronodeficiency, a persistent feeling of not having enough time, which meant mission control had to schedule extra time for tasks that were simple on Earth. So what causes this? It's a mix of things. The disruption of the vestibular system plays a role, as our sense of movement is strangely tied to how we perceive time. But the main cause is the alien environment itself. On the ISS, astronauts see 16 sunrises and sunsets every 24 hours, completely destroying the natural day-night cycle that anchors our internal clocks. Add in the intense workload, stress, and isolation, and the brain's timing mechanisms go haywire. Astronauts have a name for this state of poor concentration and altered time awareness: space fog. Section 4. When senses go adrift. Time isn't the only thing that gets twisted in space. The very way astronauts feel and see the world changes. Studies have shown their sense of touch can get duller, meaning a light touch on the skin might not register as easily. Pain perception also gets weird. Astronauts often report back pain from fluid shifts and their spines elongating in microgravity. And yet, their threshold for other kinds of pain, like from heat, can actually go up, while the body's natural pain-blocking systems become less efficient. Vision goes through its own set of strange adaptations. The brain, now starved of reliable gravitational cues, has to reinterpret what it sees. One fascinating study used reversible figures, like the famous Necker cube, which can look like it's facing two different directions. Here on Earth, we have a strong bias. We see one orientation about 70% of the time because our brains assume light comes from above. In space, after getting used to weightlessness, astronauts lost this bias. Their perception of the cube became a 50-50 split, as their brains unlearned the built-in assumption of a world with gravity. They were literally seeing the world with fewer perceptual shortcuts. And when they returned to Earth, this altered vision stuck around for a while, before slowly returning to normal over several months. It's clear that space pushes the human brain to its absolute limits, forcing it to adapt in ways we're only just beginning to understand. If you're finding this journey into the mind of an astronaut as fascinating as we do, take a moment to subscribe and click the bell icon. You won't want to miss our next exploration into the frontiers of science. Section 5. The Overview Effect, the Ultimate Perceptual Shift. While the warping of time and senses is profound, it's nothing compared to the single most powerful phenomenon astronauts report: the overview effect. It's a term coined by author Frank White to describe the shift in awareness that happens when you see the Earth from orbit or from the Moon. It's not just a pretty view. It's a moment of overwhelming emotion and deep insight. Astronaut after astronaut describes it in transcendent terms. From the silent void of space, our planet appears as a single, unified whole. The borders, conflicts, and divisions that define so much of life on the surface simply disappear. There are no nations, no political fights, no us versus them. There is only us. Astronaut Chris Hadfield described it happening while he was taking a picture over Pakistan. He realized he wasn't thinking of the people there as them, but as us, grasping in a single moment that we are all on this tiny planet together. Mike Massimino called the Earth a paradise, the most stunning thing he had ever seen. These aren't just passing feelings. Researchers call the overview effect a state of awe that leads to lasting changes in an astronaut's values, a deeper appreciation for the planet's beauty and fragility, and a stronger sense of connection to all of humanity. This is the ultimate fix for our limited, earthbound perception. By physically leaving the world, astronauts gain a perspective that's impossible to get from the ground. The effect is so powerful, it often leads them to become more involved in humanitarian and environmental causes back on Earth. It addresses a deep human need, our sense of connection, by revealing the profound reality of our shared home on what many have called a tiny blue dot, a spaceship for all of us. Section 6. Down to Earth. The challenge of readjustment. Coming home is just as jarring as leaving. The brain, having spent months rewriting its rules for a weightless world, must now do the entire process in reverse. Gravity, once a forgotten force, becomes a crushing, exhausting weight. Simple things like walking or even holding your head up are suddenly difficult. Those same sensory adaptations that were critical for survival in space now work against them back on Earth. The dizziness and disorientation can return as the vestibular system struggles to get its bearings. The brain, which adapted to the quiet hum of the ISS, has to relearn how to process the chaotic sensory overload of Earth. The cognitive issues like space fog usually fade within weeks, but the full physical and psychological readjustment can take months. This difficult journey home is a testament to just how deeply space travel alters the human mind. The person who returns is not the same one who left. Their brain has been rewired, their senses retrained, and their perspective has been changed forever. Conclusion. From the warping of time to the unlearning of our most basic senses, space travel forces the human brain into a radical state of adaptation. It strips away the perceptual shortcuts we evolved over millennia and forces a new reality on us. But in doing so, it offers a gift. By losing the familiar ground beneath our feet, we gain a perspective of breathtaking clarity. The experience proves that our reality isn't fixed, but is a construct of the mind, a construct that can be expanded. The true frontier of space exploration isn't just the planets and stars, but the inner space of human consciousness. The ultimate lesson from those who have floated in the void is one of unity and connection. They go to space to explore other worlds, but in the end, they discover our own. And that leaves us with one final powerful question. What would you think if you saw the Earth from space? What other ways do you think space will change humanity? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And for more deep dives that expand your perception of the world, make sure you subscribe and share this video with someone who loves to look at the stars. Thank you for watching.